Coach, can you talk a little bit about your philosophy about wanting and players as opposed to but players?
Well, again, this goes back to players creating value for themselves. I always talk to players about, I spent 8 years in the NFL, so that means I sat through 8 drafts, which meant it's not just a draft, it's 2 weeks of preparing for the draft, and then 2 more weeks of getting questions answered, and then 2 more weeks of preparing for the draft. So I'm talking about listening to 1,000 draft reports. And I tell our players all the time, the 2 most compelling words in the draft report is and but. All right, so they read the player, and I'll take a defensive back. All right, he's got quick feet, change of direction, he had good long speed, can play man-to-man, he's a good tackler, he's got toughness, he's got really good ball judgment and really good ball skills, and he's a good person. He was a leader on the team. He graduated from school. Coaches loved him. Read the same player, but he had a positive drug test. He had a domestic violence incident with his girlfriend, got in a fight in a bar when he was a freshman. Strength coach said he wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. Who do you want on your team? And or but? All right, so what I tell players is you don't realize that as soon as you apply for a job, as soon as you put your name in for the draft, people are looking for reasons not to pick you. They're looking for reasons not to hire you. So don't give anybody a reason to say but. It's the only way that you can create value for yourself. So that and but, what came after that had nothing to do with what the player was, but it had a significant impact on where the player got picked. So this is an analogy that I use all the time with players to try to get them to understand, how do I create value for myself and my future for what I want to accomplish? And it goes right back to, yeah, I might have to edit my behavior a little bit. You know, when Kobe Bryant came here and spent a day with us, that's all he talked about, is how do I have to edit my behavior to accomplish the goals that I have? You know, one of the players on our team asked him, said, how did you score 60 in the last game that you played in the NBA, which was the last game of the season, and you were 40 years old, and you just came off of an Achilles tendon? He said, I knew I was going to have to work my tail off to be able to make it through that season, and I wanted to play one more year. So I worked 8 hours a day for 365 days out of the year. He said, then I'll put that part on ESPN. So how do you have to edit your behavior to accomplish the goals that you have? That all goes back to that.